All right, so let's get on the income and expenses tracking spreadsheet. Real quickly, this is important because ultimately you have to file your taxes at the end of the year, and you don't want to unexpectedly owe money, right? So we're just going to go over how to use this spreadsheet, what it does, and its use. So getting right into things, basically over here we have two tables here. This is your table for date of invoices submitted. Basically here you'd put the date of the invoice, the number of hours on the invoice, the amount which you got paid would be calculated right here, right? So in this case, there's $70, and then the year, which is irrelevant, is calculated right here. So let's just say on the 5th or on the 23rd of May, you submitted 5 hours. Then that would calculate up to $70. Let's say on June 1st, we got 15 hours. That would calculate to $210. And what's going to happen is these two numbers here are going to get summed up in the earnings of the current year here, right? And so that this table right here is just really to put in the date and hours of your invoices. All you have to do is put the date and the hours, and the rest will get calculated for you, okay? So next we have the taxes table, and this you don't have to look at too much, but this right here automatically calculates how much tax you owe for federal income tax, Maine state income tax, Social Security tax, and Medicare tax. And these numbers will all be calculated automatically based on your taxable income, and the sum of your taxes to be withheld will be shown right here. That's year to date, meaning for the total year of this. Now, we also have this expenses cell right here, and this brings us to the next piece. In the next tab, we record expenses. Now, expenses can be anything relevant to things that um, you're paying for. So in this, let's just say on May 22nd, you bought printer paper. You put the date here, paid to whoever you paid it to. Let's say you bought it at Staples, and you bought printer paper 500 sheets. You would then find the column that says office supplies, because printer paper would probably qualify for office supplies. Let's say you paid $10, just put 10 in there, and that's it. Now let's just say, for instance, it was something along the lines of us going to a business meeting and you paying for lunch. So then let's say we did that on the 25th, and we go to Denny's and we put business lunch, and then under the meals and entertainment column right here, you could put the cost of the meal. Let's say it's $24. And what's going to happen is the total costs are going to get summed up in this column here. Now you notice that this automatically turns green. That is basically to identify which month from a visual standard. So if I put the date of 6/13/17, because that is June, the row is now going to turn blue. If I put the month of July, basically the shade of color is going to change based on the month. And all this is so that you can do is when you're at the end of the year and you need to record and itemize your expenses, it makes it easier to separate month by month and see what goes where, right? So this is how to use the expense sheet. And you'll notice that over here we have a total of $34 of expenses for the year, right? What happens is now when we go back to this earnings page, expenses for the current year, a number populates. We have $34 in expenses. So your earnings are $280. Your expenses were $34. And what happens is your taxable income is now your earnings minus your expenses. Now, this is very important because you don't want to pay taxes when, you want to be able to expense things so that you're paying taxes on the right amount of income, because anything you spend your money on that's business related is taking away from your income that you're making from this business. So anything that can be qualified as an expense, you need to enter, because then your taxable income is going to be decreased. Hence, notice that this number went from 80 something dollars to 70 something dollars. And that's significant, and it adds up over time. So this is very important that you pay attention to it. Also with expenses, I can't stress enough, even if you're entering things in this sheet, and make sure that you are, still keep your receipts in a safe place. Either take a picture of them and put them in a folder, or just keep them in a box at home. Make sure that you're keeping all of your receipts. Receipts are very crucial. The last piece of this is going to be mileage. So let's just say that in June, you took a trip down to visit me, and it was for the sake of business. And honestly, even if you're coming down to visit the family, but we talk about business, it was for the sake of business. So we can put mileage here, and we can say picked up merchandise, or we could even just say business meeting with Oppenheimer niche goods. And then the total mileage you can record here. So let's just say you drove down from Maine and back, and it was a whole total of 250 miles. You would then put 250 in the mileage column. And that's all you're going to do, because now if we move along this spreadsheet and we go to the mileage expense, it automatically is going to calculate your expense on mileage, right? And so you get 53.5 cents to every dollar. 53.5 cents expense per mile. And that is to work around the cost of gas. So, just that one trip down and back, you're already saving yourself. Again, you're getting $133.75 taking off of your earnings right off the bat. So now your taxable income just went from 230 something to $112.25. Now, when you're recording mileage, it's very important for you to take a picture of your odometer before your trip, and take a picture of your odometer after the trip, and save these pictures somewhere. Again, I can't stress this enough, because this is very important documentation to have when you're recording mileage, right? So make sure, again, I can't stress it enough. You could even probably put it in the reasons, and you could put starting mileage was 250,000, ending mileage was 250,000 and 250. Anyways, so just the thing that I want to stress to you here is that in recording things, you have to be very, very meticulous. Very meticulous in this piece. And it's not, you don't have to do anything crazy other than keep your receipts, and just make sure that you're recording things properly, so that you have documentation. Chances are you'll never get audited by the IRS, but God forbid you do. You want to make sure you have every single bit of information to back you up. So again, just summarizing, we enter the dates of invoices and the number of hours in these columns here. and the total payments will get auto calculated. Your taxes withheld will get auto calculated. Your current earnings of the year minus your current expenses in the year is going to equal your current taxable income. And the sum of taxes to be withheld is always going to be in this little cell here. It's very important for you to pay attention to this, all right? And that should be pretty much wrap things up. Thank you so much. And looking forward to continuing things on.